Good morning. This is the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Thursday, June 24th. Taking a look at our impacts for today, quite a bit of convective activity. Thunderstorms, though they will be getting wetter, given here by the yellow covering much of Utah to western Nevada. Some strikes a bit drier further north on the outer periphery. This moisture up into the higher terrain of eastern and central Idaho. We'll have to watch those carefully, especially for holdovers later on towards the weekend. The moisture starts pushing eastwards on Friday and starts exiting the area late Friday into Saturday. Another note of concern, strong north-northeast winds pushing down off the Continental Divide. Kind of a rare scenario for fire season, but downslope winds of a dry nature for eastern Idaho that we will be watching. Lightning yesterday here on the right-hand side, much of it in the northern part of the area. It took a while for the southern areas to come into play with the lightning. Again, from the lightning yesterday until we'll have to watch the holdovers. Precipitation here on the left-hand side. Wettest areas were in southwest Idaho, but again, a mixture of wet and dry lightning. New fire starts in the red. You can see that quite a bit of new activity due to the recent lightning. Existing fires in the yellow. Observe precipitation, not much in the past 7 days on the left-hand side. Much of that in the last day or two here in Utah with the lightning push. If we look at the past 14 days, you see that wetness across western Idaho. That was a pretty good system of a half-inch to an inch of rain. You can see the key here on the left-hand side. And that's slowing some of the drying process and keeping the fire potential a bit lower, at least for the moment. That's going to wane rapidly. You can see the ERC point map, and these are going to be in a state of flux because there is some moisture moving in, but still the most critical fuels here in central northern Utah. You can see how much drier it is pushing north. You can see our wettest area still up towards the Payette, up in in our northwestern sections. Satellite imagery shows low pressure off the California coast, pushing that moisture through much of the Great Basin through here. The most enhanced clouds producing the most enhanced convective activity, and a drier wedge of air pushing into parts of Idaho. This high pressure ridge out here is going to be the big player as it amplifies to an unusually northerly position over the next couple of days. We'll get into that here. There's that high pressure. In the green is the moisture for this afternoon, and enough of it that we still have high risk for lightning, given in the areas in the red. Areas in the yellow across much of the eastern and Great Basin down south. Enough higher humidity and residual moisture to limit fire activity despite lightning ongoing. You can see the precipitation on the right-hand side, quite extensive. The purple cores are over half-inch. The bright greens are about a low-end wetting rain, about a tenth to 3/10 of an inch of rain. Drier lightning to the west and to the north. You can see the humidity is over the eastern Great Basin in the 30s, so not as much of a concern. A bit drier as you head further west. On Friday, this monster high pressure ridge, unusually far north, up towards north of Vancouver. That'll bring drying to the western Great Basin, still residual moisture in the far east. No high risk. Any lightning will be with higher humidity. You can see the higher humidity here, still in the 20s and 30% range, although it does start drying out quite a bit further south and west. Residual moisture, this is where you expect the thunderstorms mainly wet a larger area of a half-inch or more across the higher terrain of northern Utah. Now, on Saturday, there's that big monster ridge, again, north of Vancouver, and usually far north, and going to do two things, bring in heat and dryness, and also you see this northerly mid-level wind gradient of 30, 40 mile per hour winds. That's going to cause terrain-enhanced downsloping off the Continental Divide and pushing down into eastern Idaho. So we could have downslope winds, especially in the morning hours, could be gusting over 30 miles per hour with low humidity, and those areas did have recent lightning. We'll have to watch those areas. Humidity slowly starts to dry out, especially western areas. And on the right, there are those winds coming down off the Continental Divide into eastern Idaho. Some of those gusts could approach 40 miles per hour. 3-day precip totals. Down the road, Sunday, monster high pressure ridge, record heat, especially for northern areas. Quite an unusual pattern. Haven't seen that in many years. We have high risk for heat, along with the recent lightning. Holdovers could start becoming a problem, and that heat expands on the left. There's a high pressure ridge still building in place. There's the heat. On Tuesday, the high pressure ridge still nosing in, still hot and dry. We'll have high Haines indices, and that's going to be problematic, especially up in the higher terrain of Idaho and northern Nevada. Quite a bit of lightning the last couple of days, not as much wetness there. And again, The heat just continues. We have the high risk for heat through here. And another thing of note, this green moisture connection that we have here for June 30th that connects all the way down through Arizona and into central Mexico, that, my friends, is the monsoon starting to arrive on schedule, if not even a little bit earlier than normal for southern areas. 7th-day total precipitation, you can see the wetness, especially across the eastern Great Basin. There's the deep monsoon, Mexico into Arizona and New Mexico. 8 to 14-day outlook. Record heat continues, especially for our northern areas. So Idaho, Wyoming, northern Nevada comes into play. You see that wetter than normal signal? That's the monsoon signal starting to push into our southern areas by the start of July. That concludes our briefing. Have a great